The Little Rabbit Who Wanted Red Wings. Written by Carolyn Sherwin Bailey. Illustrated by Jaqueline Rogers. Once there was a little rabbit who had soft pink ears, bright red eyes, and a soft fluffy tail. He was such a cute little rabbit, but he wasn't happy. He wanted to be somebody else instead of the nice little rabbit that he was. Whenever Mr. Bushytail, the gray squirrel, passed by, the little rabbit would say to his mommy, "Oh, Mommy, I wish I had a long gray tail like Mr. Bushytail's." And whenever Mr. Porcupine passed by, the little rabbit would say to his mommy, "Oh, Mommy, I wish I had a back full of bristles like Mr. Porcupine's." And whenever Mrs. Paddle Duck passed by in her two red flippers, the little rabbit would say to his mommy, "Mommy, I wish I had a pair of red flippers just like Mrs. Paddle Duck's." Old Mr. Groundhog heard the little rabbit wishing. Old Mr. Groundhog was a very wise man indeed. So he said to the little rabbit, "Why don't you go down to the wishing pond? If you look at yourself in the water and turn 3 times, your wish will come true." So Little Rabbit trotted off all alone through the woods until he came to the pool of water lying in a low tree stump. That was the wishing pond. Beside the pond stood a little red bird, drinking happily. As soon as the little rabbit saw him, he began to wish again. "Oh," he said to himself, "I wish I had a pair of red wings." Just then he looked in the wishing pond and saw his little face. Then he turned around 3 times and something happened. The little rabbit began to have a strange feeling on his shoulders, like he had in his mouth when his teeth were growing in. It was wings coming through. So he sat all day in the woods by the wishing pond, waiting for his wings to grow. By and by, just before sundown, he started home to show his mommy his beautiful pair of long red wings. It was dark when Little Rabbit reached home. He knocked at the door. His mother opened it right away, but she didn't know him. No, she really and truly did not know him, for she had never seen a little rabbit with red wings before. The little rabbit had no choice but to go looking for a place to spend the night, because his mommy would not let him in to get into his own bed. After a while, he came to Mr. Bushytail's house. The little rabbit rapped at the door and said, "Please, kind Mr. Bushytail, may I sleep in your house all night?" But as soon as Mr. Bushytail saw the strange rabbit, he slammed the door shut. He had never seen a little rabbit with red wings in his life. The little rabbit went on until he came to Mrs. Paddle Duck's nest down in the marsh. He said, "Please, kind Mrs. Paddle Duck, may I sleep in your nest tonight?" But Mrs. Paddle Duck poked her head out from the nest just a little way. "No, no, no," she said, "go away." For she too had never seen an odd-looking rabbit in all her life. So the little rabbit went on and on until he came to old Mr. Groundhog's hole. Wise old Mr. Groundhog recognized him at once and let him spend the night. But the hole had beech nuts spread all over it, and while it pleased Mr. Groundhog, the beech nuts made Little Rabbit very uncomfortable. He had a terrible night. In the morning, the little rabbit decided to try his wings and fly a little. So he climbed up a hill, spread up his wings, and sailed off. But he landed in a bush that was all full of prickles, and his little feet got stuck in the branches, and he couldn't get down. "Mommy, Mommy," he cried, "come help me." Of course, his mommy didn't hear him, but old Mr. Groundhog did. He said to his little friend, "Do you still want red wings?" No, no, said Little Rabbit. Well then, said Mr. Groundhog, why don't you go down to the wishing pond and wish them off again? Quick as a wink, the little rabbit scampered off to the wishing pond, looking in, and wished his wings away. He turned around 3 times, and sure enough, his wings got smaller and smaller and smaller until they were gone altogether. The little rabbit went straight home to his mommy. She knew him right away and was overjoyed to see the little rabbit that she loved. And the little rabbit never, ever wished to be somebody other than himself.